If you're like most people, you've probably spent some time, maybe recently, maybe over the last few years, sort of caught in that chase for a leaner body.
Absolutely. And that chase often leads straight to the latest quick fix, right?
Exactly. Hopping onto that carousel of fad diets.
Mhm.
The newest, fastest, most restrictive thing, promising, a total transformation by next week.
Yeah, we see it all the time. Keto, extreme intermittent fasting, those detox cleanses. Basically anything built on cutting things out, on limitation.
They all promise that lightning fast start, don't they?
Yeah.
That big number drop on the scale in the first 7 days.
That's the hook.
And today, well, our mission is to really dig into the uncomfortable truth behind those promises. We're putting those quick fixes under the microscope. Do they actually deliver real sustainable health?
But it's not just about knocking them down.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. We're contrasting that whole restrictive idea against a totally different approach,
Hmm.
the Sumatra Slim Belly Tonic.
So the core question, really, for you listening is this. What happens when you put a strategy that kind of punishes the body through restriction up against one that says it works with your body? Supporting natural metabolism.
We're diving deep into that. Sustainability versus the illusion of the quick win.
Okay, so let's start where the problems usually begin. The psychological side, the physiological failure of that quick fix model.
Yeah, why do these fad diets, even when they seem to work at first, almost always lead back to that frustrating yo-yo pattern?
Well, it really boils down to their design, doesn't it? They're built for a shock effect, for rapid change, not for like long-term living.
They manipulate a basic body function, right?
Exactly. When you drastically slash carbs or calories, that initial dramatic weight loss, well, it's not fat.
That's the water weight trap people talk about. But let's unpack why that happens, because it feels so real at the time.
Oh, it does. You see the scale drop, you feel great, you think, wow, I'm burning fat like crazy.
So what's the biochemistry trick there?
Okay, so carbs get stored in your muscles and liver. They're stored as glycogen. And here's the key part. Every gram of glycogen holds on to about 3 or 4 grams of water.
Ah,
So when you suddenly strip carbs from your diet, your body burns through those glycogen stores really fast.
and releases all that bound water.
Precisely. Loads of water is released and boom, a massive rapid drop on the scale. 5, 7, maybe even 10 pounds in that first week.
Which feels incredibly motivating.
Totally. It's powerful positive feedback. But, and this is the crucial thing, it's temporary. Completely temporary.
Right. The moment you eat normally again,
Your body goes, great, carbs. It restops that glycogen and all that water rushes right back in.
which is super frustrating.
Hmm.
But you're saying that's just the surface issue.
That's just the start. Now we get into the really interesting part, the long-term hormonal damage that restriction can cause.
Okay, so we're moving past just water weight now. What happens inside when the body thinks it's starving because of this extreme diet?
Well, your body doesn't know you're dieting for a beach trip, right? It thinks there's a famine. Survival mode kicks in.
And that means hitting the brakes.
First thing is often a downshift in thyroid function. Your thyroid sets your metabolic speed, your BMR. Slow that down, and suddenly you're burning fewer calories just existing every minute.
So you might lose weight at first, but you've basically trained your body to be a slower, more efficient engine, which makes losing more weight way harder later.
Exactly right. And at the same time, your body ramps up cortisol production. That's the stress hormone.
Fight or flight stuff.
Yeah, but in a diet context, cortisol has 2 jobs. Get energy out now, but also store resources for later.
And store resources often means storing fat, doesn't it?
Specifically, it signals the body to prioritize storing visceral fat. That's the hard, dangerous fat deep around your organs, belly fat.
Which isn't just about looks, it actually messes with your metabolism.
Hugely disruptive. So the very diet aiming for slimness can actually trigger the hormonal conditions perfect for storing fat, especially around your middle. It's ironic.
And that sets up that vicious cycle, the yo-yo effect. The restriction slows metabolism, jacks up cortisol, which then creates intense cravings.
Cravings that eventually just overwhelm willpower. You binge, feel bad, restrict again.
And the whole pattern repeats. The system is biologically rigged against you.
It really is. It's a short-term win that often leads to long-term frustration because it doesn't fix the underlying metabolic slowdown. It can actually cause it. It makes you dependent on these extreme measures you just can't maintain.
Okay, so we've laid out why that restrictive, punitive approach is often counterproductive in the long run. Let's pivot. Let's look at the alternative strategy, the support and sustainability idea behind this Sumatra Slim Belly Tonic.
Yeah, the shift in strategy here is pretty fascinating. It's moving away from shock tactics, away from punishment, and towards natural metabolic support.
Right.
The idea presented is that this tonic is formulated to tackle what they see as the root cause of stubborn weight issues. That's sluggish metabolism and the buildup of that disruptive belly fat we were just talking about.
Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts, I have to ask about this story. This inspiration from Sumatran island communities, who are supposedly super healthy without gyms and diets, is that, genuine history or more of a marketing angle?
That's always a fair question with these kinds of products. Look, verifying specific ancient rituals is tough. But the underlying science, which we're about to get into, often draws on traditional herbalism principles found across many cultures. Using botanicals to support digestion, energy, that's well established.
Okay.
So whether the Sumatran angle is perfectly historical or slightly romanticized, it serves to highlight the core philosophy, working with the body's natural rhythm, not forcing it.
Got it. Appreciate that context. So let's look at the actual proposed mechanism then. It claims to gently restore natural rhythm and specifically reactivate the metabolic switch. What does that actually mean for you, the listener? Reactivating a switch.
Okay, think of your body like a hybrid car. It can run on glucose from carbs, or it can run on fat. Ideally, your metabolism flips easily between those fuels depending on need.
Makes sense.
But for many people struggling with weight, that switch gets kind of stuck on glucose only. They burn the fuel they just ate, and any excess gets stored as fat. They're not good at tapping into fat reserves.
So reactivating the switch means making the body better at saying, okay, no new fuel coming in right now, let's burn some stored fat for energy.
That's basically it. Improving the efficiency of that fat-burning pathway, even when you're just resting or sleeping.
Which sounds like the polar opposite of the famine response from crash diets.
Exactly. It's about working with the system, optimizing the machinery you already have. And the power behind that, supposedly, comes down to the specific ingredients.
All right, let's unpack those specifics. This is where the targeted support is meant to happen. We need to understand how they work together, the synergy.
Okay, let's group them. First, the metabolic movers. You've got EGCG, which is a key compound from green tea.
Right, I've heard of that one.
Its big role is supporting thermogenesis, heat production, and fat oxidation. Basically, helping your body convert stored fat into usable energy.
And that often needs a helper to make sure it gets absorbed properly. That's where piperine from black pepper fits in.
Piperine is really interesting stuff. It's known in traditional medicine for massively boosting the bioavailability of other compounds.
Meaning your body can actually use them.
Yeah, you could take EGCG or turmeric alone, and a lot might just pass through you. Piperine acts like a doorman, making sure the good stuff gets absorbed and utilized. Plus, some sources say piperine might help block new fat cells from forming, so it's playing offense and defense.
Okay, that absorption piece is key. Now, what about inflammation? The tonic includes turmeric and other antioxidants. How does that connect to metabolism?
Inflammation is like a hidden brake on your metabolism.
Yeah.
If your body is dealing with chronic, low-level inflammation, maybe from diet, stress, poor sleep, your systems are constantly on alert.
Kind of distracted.
Exactly. That diverts resources. Cells become less responsive, including to things like insulin, and less efficient at burning fat. Everything gets sluggish.
So reducing that inflammation is like clearing the static, telling the system, okay, false alarm, get back to your regular job of burning fuel.
That's a great way to put it, reducing the biological noise. And finally, there are the balancers, cinnamon bark and ginger root. These are vital because metabolism is so closely tied to blood sugar levels.
Right. Blood sugar spikes lead to crashes, which leads to cravings.
And mood swings, yeah. Cinnamon and ginger are pretty well regarded for helping to regulate and stabilize blood sugar.
So fewer peaks and valleys in energy.
Which means you cut down on those powerful hormonal signals that scream for sugar or simple carbs late at night. Stable blood sugar means fewer cravings, more sustained energy.
Okay, so putting it all together, it's not just one thing. The synergy seems to be about boosting fat burning, making sure nutrients get absorbed, calming inflammation, and balancing blood sugar, all without that deprivation feeling.
Right. It's designed to support the whole system, not just shock it. Which brings us neatly to the idea of sustained results and how this fits into real life.
Yeah, this contrast between dependency and empowerment feels really important. The traditional diet world often seems to bank on failure, right? Lose it, gain it back, try the next thing.
Whereas the goal here seems to be enabling the body. The tonic is presented as a support tool, something that fits into a normal routine. It doesn't demand eliminating food groups or hours in the gym. It's meant to complement steady, sensible habits.
So what are the claimed differences in the outcomes, people using this approach versus a crash diet?
Well, the reported benefits go beyond just weight loss. Because it addresses blood sugar and digestion, users often talk about more stable energy and better focus throughout the day.
Less brain fog, maybe?
Could be. And crucially, because there's no extreme restriction, those intense cravings tend to diminish or disappear.
Which makes sticking with it easier.
Exactly. So the fat loss tends to be more gradual, steadier, but it supports a lasting change because the body is actually functioning more efficiently. People report feeling better overall, not just appearing thinner.
That feels like a fundamental difference in quality of life.
Right.
More energy could mean more motivation for activity, which then reinforces the metabolic benefits, a positive cycle.
Absolutely. And better digestion often links to better sleep. When your body isn't struggling with inflammation or processing issues overnight, sleep quality can improve. Better sleep helps regulate cortisol. It completes that virtuous cycle that crash diets tend to break.
Okay, let's nail down the practical side. How easy is this to actually use day to day? What's the required commitment?
It's designed to be pretty simple, really, just a daily ritual. The standard advice is 1 scoop mixed into water or maybe a smoothie each morning, usually before breakfast.
And consistency is key, I assume.
That's the main thing. Making it a consistent habit allows that metabolic support to become cumulative, priming your body for the day.
But it's not a magic potion on its own, right? What else needs to be in place?
No, definitely not. It has to be paired with the basics of healthy living. We're talking some light daily movement. Even a 15-minute walk makes a difference staying well hydrated, and really prioritizing regular, consistent sleep. Sleep is just non-negotiable for hormone balance and weight management.
Right. So what's a realistic timeline? Crash diets promise results in days. What about metabolic support?
Yeah, this is different. Because it's about restoring deeper function, not just flushing water, it takes a bit more patience. Users typically report noticing changes within the first few weeks, things like better digestion, more energy, fewer cravings.
Okay.
The more visible fat loss, especially around the belly, that tends to become more noticeable after consistent use for maybe 4 to 8 weeks. It's about steady, sustainable progress. Definitely a marathon mindset, not a sprint.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we land back at that core comparison. The biological fragility of the quick fix versus the systemic support claimed by this tonic approach.
And the conclusion seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Quick fixes often rely on creating dependency. They shock the system, cause hormonal chaos, and set up that rebound effect that almost guarantees future struggles.
While the natural support approach
Aims to empower the body, using targeted botanicals to help it burn fat more efficiently, control cravings naturally, and sustain balance. It's promoting overall wellness and stable energy, not just temporary weight loss.
It really does sound like choosing empowerment over punishment. Progress over that cycle of depletion and regain.
Exactly.
So maybe before you jump into the next super trendy detox promising miracles overnight, it's worth asking yourself a fundamental question about your health journey. Do you want to look slim for a week, maybe 2, and then spend the next year fighting to get back there? Or do you want to build something sustainable, feeling healthy, energetic, and balanced for the long haul? It's about choosing progress, not punishment.